Alright, so we're going to be making the coolest hammer you've ever seen. We're going to go ahead, get some 4140 tool steel in the forge, and let's start making it. Let's go! The first step that I'm trying to accomplish is punching a hole in the hammerhead. Let's do it. Now that the hole has been punched in the hammerhead, we're going to take a homemade drift to make the hole larger so that I can fit my handle in. Now that all the forging is done on the hammer, we can start grinding it. So I'm going to start with a 4-inch hollow wheel with a 36 grit belt and basically knock off all those rough spots that I left in forging. This allows me to get a good bit of shaping done before I use the flat platen to get the surfaces and the hammer faces a nice even finish. You'll notice I'm rotating it, constantly checking my work, and this allows me to keep everything nice and square. Once grinding has been completed and I've finished rasping out the inside of the eye of the hammer, I'm going to move on to the most intricate part of the entire process. I'm going to be creating a piece of silver that I'll inlay into the hammer. So I start by piercing out the shape of my flower from a sheet of silver. I'm going to be going with an Ohio spiderwort flower for my motif here. I'm going to go ahead and file on a dovetail edge, favoring the top. That way when I go to inlay it later, it helps me out. Now this really is the most time-consuming part of the entire process, but oh my goodness is it worthwhile. This is honestly one of the most peaceful times in the workshop for me, and just being able to sit here and draw with chisels, there really isn't anything else that compares to it. I hope you guys can enjoy this montage as much as I enjoyed engraving the hammer. Now it's time to heat treat the hammer. I'm going to heat the entire hammer head up to about 1500 degrees, starting with the back end first, slowly building heat towards the front. This ensures that I don't melt the silver that I just spent the time inlaying into it. After the quench has gone well, I need to temper it. I'm going to heat it gently up with a dragon's breath of the forge to about 400 degrees Fahrenheit, or about a straw color. Once it reaches this, I'll dunk it in water to freeze the temper. After that, I'll finish the silver inlay. I'm going to start by shaping my petals before using a traditional technique to add little dots of gold to represent the anthers of the flower. This technique is called 10 Zogan, and here I'm going to be using 14 karat gold. Usually people would use 24 karat gold. I chose 14, however, to save money as well as having the added benefit of the extra copper content in the material. This increases the overall durability of the gold. Once I finish dressing the faces of the hammer with a 120 grit belt, now it's time to work on the handle. So I'm going to start with a piece of curly maple I had from this gunstock blank. I'm going to first use the miter saw to chop it to the length that I need, before using the bandsaw to hog off most of the material before I'll use the planer and then the belt sander to do the final shaping. Now that the handle's been roughly shaped, we're going to try to hang the hammerhead. So something that's really cool about hanging hammerheads is that you place the handle inside the eye of the hammer, and then you strike the base of the handle, and that causes the hammerhead to scoot up onto the wedge part that we just created. All that being said, this allows us to see exactly where we need to remove more material for the hammerhead to fit perfectly. So this basically is a trial and error process where you hang the head, you see where it's catching, and then you remove that little bit of material, and then you just keep going until you're happy with the fit. Once it does fit nicely though, I'm going to start hand sanding the handle. This is another really tranquil moment in the shop for me, and I'm going to start with 150 grit, work my way up to 220 grit, and then finish with 2500 grit and a coat of mineral oil to finish everything off. Now that the handle has been finished, it's time for the final step. We're going to use a coping saw to make the slot that our wedge is going to go in, which will secure the hammerhead. I'm going to use a piece of African ipe as my wedge. This produces a really rich red color, and I really like it in contrast to the curly maple. Go make something for yourself. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, leave a like, comment, let me know what I should build next. And thank you guys for sticking around. Have a great day, and God bless.